let's cheat the system a little bit here, and let's look ahead to playoff matchups, see which players have really, really tough playoff schedules, and trade them away before other people catch on. Let's start with Tua Tagovailoa. When you're looking at the teams that the Dolphins are going to play in this time period, they're going to play the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Ravens. And when you're looking specifically at the amount of points those defenses have given up to quarterbacks this year in fantasy, the Ravens have given up the least, the Jets have given up the 6th least, and the Cowboys have given up the 10th least in terms of points to QBs. So when you're looking at those three teams and the amount of 20-point QB performances they've given up, they have only given up 6 20-point QB performances combined. 6. I mean, that's what? A sample size
impressive.
of 33 games now?
Yeah,
or like 30 games?
That's wild.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
So with Tua, again, and it's like this with quarterbacks in general, you can stream quarterback and you're fine. Tua, because of where he's at right now, because of the success that he's been able to have this season, actually probably has some market value right now, has some value that you could be like, okay, I'm going to trade this guy away and maybe go get a running back, maybe go get a wide receiver. Yeah. But in terms of Tua Tagovailoa, I mean, he's been a top 12 quarterback this season. I think he's been top 6. So he's been so productive. I think there will be somebody that's like, yeah, I need to trade for this guy for the playoffs. They're actually walking into a trap. You should be the guy that knows better. Trade away Tua before it's too late.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Trade away Tua before it's too late, and then stream quarterback, or just down tier from Tua to Brock Purdy or something like that.
Yeah, actually, the funny thing, too, is the Jets scare me the most out of any of those teams because the Jets allow more rushing ability against their opponents than any of those other defenses, too. Their run defense has been not very good, to say the least recently. So, and hey, Aaron Rodgers could be back by then. Who knows if they're still in the running since, Burrow's out and they kind of blew open the playoff running for a couple teams there. But if you guys thought after us saying that Tua was going to be a sell for playoffs, naturally you'd probably think that that's going to impact one of the wide receivers. And you would be right. You're smart if you thought that. Jalen Waddle is going to be our guy here. Yeah, we're not in the business of betting against Tyreek Hill. We never were, never have been, never will be, honestly, as long as he's in the NFL doing what he's doing right now. Jalen Waddle is going to be the guy that's going to take the hit here. I think Tyreek Hill has shown that regardless of whatever defense he's playing in the NFL, he's going to destroy them.
True.
It doesn't matter who it is. Jalen Waddle has already had a rough year as it is, and we've been big advocates for Jalen Waddle as a buy low, as someone you should be investing in at a massive discount, and he's shown out. He's had a couple of really good games of recent, despite struggling with, I think, a back injury or whatever. But with Jalen Waddle, again, we've already told you about the matchups. Not great matchups. Yes, I mean, do you think Jalen Waddle will line up with Sauce Gardner as a one-on-one? Because I don't think Sauce will be on Tyreek. You can't 1v1. You can't 1v1 Tyreek.
I mean, Christian Gonzalez did a pretty good job. So I think they will. I think they'll put Sauce on Tyreek.
Okay.
So that could play, but again, it's Tyreek. So Tyreek's going to get his own. And with Waddle, I mean, it's not only that. I mean, these teams have given up the first least in terms of the Jets have the least points given up to wide receivers. Cowboys are second in least points, and Ravens are 10th in least
That's
fantasy
wild.
That's
really
they
impressive.
are really good at limiting quarterback and wide receiver performances.
Yeah, there's a direct correlation here between the quarterback's lack of production and the wide receivers. Only 5 total 100-yard games given up to wide receivers this season between those 3 defenses.
You know the meme?
That's insane.
You know the meme where they've got like the 3 soldiers and the clown peeking around the corner? That's George Pickens on this list. Luke, will you put that up for us?
That's so funny, dude.
Sorry, George Pickens.
Yeah. Hey, good for him, though. Good
I know.
for him doing
he had
that.
a good game. I remember that game.
So actually, I mean, seeing that statistic, that does make me worry a little bit about Tyreek Hill, but you're not.
No, but look at the guys: CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, and Diggs. Like,
okay, that makes me.
You're talking about
worry.
like top 7 receivers,
right?
Saquon Barkley's going to be next. Saquon we're concerned about because he's going to be playing the Saints, the Eagles, and the Rams during the playoffs for fantasy. And when you're looking at those defenses, they are 1st, 3rd, and 10th in least fantasy points given up to running back. So obviously some tough matchups. Not to mention when you're talking about the Giants right now, their offense is pretty one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too crap on DeVito, but I'm not sure anybody's super worried about him slinging it right now.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of rankings recently, power rankings for teams, and unfortunately, the New York Giants have not been included in those rankings, and the Georgia Bulldogs have taken their place at 32. So it's to put it nicely, it's not been very good. Nothing against DeVito personally. I'm honestly really happy that he gets his opportunity in the NFL. It'll be his first and his last. But with Saquon, I completely agree with you here. Saquon Barkley, honestly, he is this year's 2022 Jonathan Taylor, right? Where you've got, just an absolutely putrid offense. You've got nothing going, zero, absolutely nothing clicking anywhere in the pass game,
ankle
in the
injury
run game, and he's got the ankle injury on top of that. Like, it is honestly a carbon copy. And Saquon has been okay. Like, it's still, you still see Saquon Barkley and you're like, hey, that's,
double-digit points most
He
weeks.
shows flashes here and there. He gets double-digit points, but his ceiling is massively capped because regardless of the volume that he gets in this offense, every defense knows that he is the only relevant threat offensively. So what are they going to do? They're going to focus on Saquon Barkley, focus on stopping and stuffing the run, and force Tommy DeVito to throw the ball, which he's incapable of doing.
Not to mention, those three teams have only given up one 100-yard rushing game all season combined.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's insane. How many times has Saquon gone over 100 yards this season rushing?
Am I supposed to guess?
Yes.
3 times.
One time.
Oh, wow.
He has done it one time.
Well, it was a Cardinals game, I assume.
Let's see if you're right. You assume it was actually the Jets game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was when he carried the ball,
got 36
carries. Yeah. So Saquon is a pretty clear trade candidate there.
Yep.
And the next guy also is.
Yeah, Amari Cooper. And this guy is someone who is, despite his situation, despite Deshaun Watson looking really bad, despite having to play with PJ Walker, has somehow been able to salvage a pretty solid season from a production standpoint. I mean, he's been flexible week in and week out. He's laid a couple of duds here and there, but that's usually when the QB changes are going on. Now it's DTR for the rest of the year. As long as DTR isn't like as atrocious as he was previously, which I don't think he will be because he'll have an entire week of getting ready to play, and he's a rookie. You can kind of build off of performances. You know what you're getting from PJ Walker. I'm a little more optimistic with DTR for that offense for the rest of the season, but I'm still not optimistic with Amari Cooper from a production standpoint. When you look at his matchups, he's playing Chicago on the 17th of December, which you're like, okay, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Chicago has been better recently, but still seems pretty friendly. Houston Texans, and then the New York Jets. So the Jets are first. The Texans are 12th, and the Bears, believe it or not, are now 15th in wide receiver fantasy points given up on the season as of now.
And he's playing the Jets in the championship week.
Yep. And only 6 100-yard games given up to wide receivers by those 3 teams combined in total all season.
That's tough, man.
This is a situation where not only do you have tough matchups in these playoff games for you in fantasy, but you now have major questions at quarterback. Not like you didn't before. You had major questions with Deshaun Watson at quarterback, though he did show flashes in that second half before he went down. He did it all with a broken shoulder, which is insane. I'm looking at all this data. I'm looking at all these statistics, and there's absolutely no way I want to be starting, or I'm comfortable starting Amari Cooper at the end of the year when I'm trying to make a run.
Yeah, me either. And then lastly here, Dalton Schultz plays the Titans, the Browns, and then the Titans again.
The Brownies.
I hate when they do that.
Yeah.
Playing the same team twice in 3 weeks. That's so stupid.
It happens to usually in every division. That happens to a couple teams in each division every year.
This is pretty funny, though. In terms of fantasy point defense against tight end, the Browns rank number 1. The Titans rank number 2. So he plays 2, 1, and 2.
Jeez.
In terms of fantasy points given up to tight end this season in the defenses.
Wow.
Only 4 tight end performances over 40 yards this year against these 2 teams. And 3 of those are Mark Andrews. Isn't that insane?
That's impressive.
So whatever, Dalton Schultz is a tight end. So you're probably not going to have a ton of people like, I'm trying to get Dalton Schultz right now. If you can get anything for him.
Dalton Schultz has shown consistency enough of recent that you're wanting to start him every week, and you're going to have a lot of people going into the playoffs that are counting on him to have decent weeks because of CJ Stroud's passing volume, and we're not counting on that, man.
Yeah.
We're not counting on it.
Again, you kind of have to play the system here because these players, when you're looking at the defensive results up to this point in the season, they have pretty tough playoff matchups. So it's what? Week 11? No, week 11 is just ending, so it'll be week 12 next week. I mean, we are 2 weeks away from playoff
That's
time.
wild.
We are 2 weeks away. So the time is now. If you're going to make these trades, if you're going to make these moves, make them now because, again, you're going to run out of time and people are going to catch on very quickly. Not to mention, a lot of these guys are being affected by some sort of injury. For example, Saquon with Danny Dimes, Amari Cooper with Deshaun. So you really need to try to get these guys off your roster as soon as possible. But we're going to do another video. We're going to do some better playoff matchups, guys you should be targeting. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Make sure you drop a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe. If we could get to 5,000 subscribers, that would just be fantastic. We are close. We're within like 400. So if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, if you would please subscribe, that would be fantastic. And we really, really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We appreciate you. And we will see you later.